Hi, I'm Anna, and welcome to the Sompo's Deep Cut. When you first look at China's wine map, you expect something unified, one massive country with one identity. Instead, it hands you a mosaic of extremes: bone dry deserts that barely see 80 mm of rain a year, monsoonal regions drowning in late summer storms, Himalayan foothills at nearly 3,000 meters, coastlines soaked in humidity, and inland provinces where bearing a vine is as normal as winter pruning. China is not one region, it's a negotiation between climate, geography, economics, and honestly, survival. So let's start at the northern edge in Heilongjiang and Jilin, where winters are so brutally cold that winter burial isn't just a technique, it is viticulture. Vines disappear under the soil every November and re emerge in March or April, protected from temperatures that would kill ungrafted trunks outright. This ritual defines the cost structure of Chinese wine growing. And as the older agricultural workforce retires, fewer young workers want to do this kind of labor, which means rising production costs and real concern about long term sustainability. Move down towards Beijing, and the story shifts to humidity and timing. Summers are warm, sticky, and storm prone, with August and September bringing rainfall exactly when growers least want it. Older vineyards were planted on fertile flatlands with poor drainage, leading to generous yields and diluted fruit. Newer producers are searching for better drained sites and slightly higher elevations, but fungal pressure remains a constant battle. Now travel east to Shandong, a warm maritime region where heavy pre harvest rain is one of the defining constraints. This is where the country's early industry took shape with Changyu. And while wines here don't need winter burial, the challenges come from the other direction: moisture, rot, and the constant need to balance ripeness against disease pressure. Head inland, and the climate becomes more varied. Shanxi and Shanxi sit in the transitional belt between humid east and arid west. The northern parts can be dry and continental, the southern areas still humid. But the real pivot point for modern Chinese wine is further west. That turning point is Ningxia. Rainfall here collapses to around 200 mm. The desert pushes in from the west, but the Helansha Mountains shield the vineyards, softening winds and creating a corridor where Cabernet Sauvignon can ripen cleanly. Irrigation from the Yellow River is the only reason grapes survive at all, and every drop is managed with precision. This narrow band of vineyards is where China's most ambitious wines, structured, polished, Bordeaux influenced blends, first caught international attention. Continue west into Xinjiang, one of the driest viticultural regions in the world, with around 80 mm of annual rainfall. Summers are hot, the season is short, frost can arrive as early as October, and yet snow melt from the Tian Shan Mountains fuels large scale production. Much of this wine is shipped east and blended into brands consumers already know. In Gansu, particularly the Hexi corridor, altitude and dryness come together once again, though disease pressure is lower than in the east and yields can be kept on track. And then you reach the region that feels almost mythical: Yunnan. Subtropical climate, yes, but vineyards rise from 1600 to nearly 2,900 meters in the foothills above Shangri-La. Here, altitude tames heat and stretches ripening into late autumn. Frost arrives late. Rain falls mainly in summer, and this is one of the only regions in China where wines never need winter burial. Cabernet Sauvignon and Bordeaux blends ripen with grace at these altitudes, forming a style defined not by power but by pension and purity. Across all these regions, vineyard management mirrors the duality of Chinese wine. There is the older system, ungrafted wines, the multi cordon fan or single dragon training style, dense canopies, heavy irrigation, uneven ripening, and high disease pressure. Then there is the new wave, spur pruned, chang shaped systems that allow burial while creating a single fruiting zone. More disciplined canopy management, precision irrigation, and a shift towards imported or virus clean planting material. Leaf roll remains widespread, and the move toward healthier plant stock is slow but steady. Winemaking has modernized at impressive speed. The Bordeaux template dominates premium production. Hand sorting, stainless steel fermentation, and 18 months of French barriques for top wines. The era of technical false, high VA, Brett, hard tannins is disappearing. Producers are harvesting for phenolic ripeness, not just sugar, and the wines increasingly show polish alongside structure. Whites and rosés are produced, but China is culturally and commercially a red wine market, and the industry leans into Cabernet Sauvignon and its relatives with conviction. Wine law remains minimal. Wine is legally categorized as a food product, which means basic compositional requirements rather than a full origin protection system. At the same time, wine is taxed as an industrial product, adding cost to a category already challenged by high labor, irrigation, and land expenses. The business landscape is equally distinctive. China consumes enormous volumes of wine, but per capita consumption is tiny. Growth slowed sharply after the anti extravagance campaign, and more recently because of economic pressure and shifting consumer habits. Three giants dominate: Changyu, Great Wall, and Dynasty. Many of their wines rely on blending with imported bulk because high volume, low cost production inside China is structurally difficult. Alongside them are the boutique producers like Silver Heights, Grace Vineyard, Aoyun, carving out premium niches with strong site identities. And then there is China's real superpower: e commerce. Tmall, Alibaba, and other platforms sell more wine in a day than many traditional markets sell in weeks. But scale brings shadows. Counterfeit bottles remain a real issue, affecting both imported and domestic brands. Exports remain small. The industry is built for the domestic market and responds to domestic tastes. And because agricultural land is state owned, the long term vision for wine often reflects regional policy as much as producer ambition, which is exactly why China is so examinable. A country where viticulture is shaped by burial, irrigation, desert winds, monsoonal rain, altitude, and UV exposure, where Cabernet Sauvignon is both a strength and a stylistic challenge, where wine law is light, business realities are heavy, and regions differ more dramatically than almost anywhere else in the world. China isn't one chapter, it's an ecosystem: climatic, cultural, political. And once you learn to read that ecosystem, the entire syllabus settles into place. I do hope this helps and you enjoy listening. I'll see you on the next deep cut.